4 months ago, we unboxed and built the ZimaBoard 2, and I said that I would use it as my home server, and that stayed true. I have used the ZimaBoard 2 with ZimaOS the entire 4 months, and today I thought we'd give it kind of like a 4-month review, see how I've actually got on with it in an honest way. I've got some good points and some bad points to talk through, as I'm sure there are with, every home server. But I just want to add that Ice Whale, the guys who made the ZimaBoard 2, haven't reached out to me in the last 4 months. I'm making this video of my own volition. I just want to add some honest updates, some feedback, if you like. Now, the main one I want to bring up is it's made of metal. All of it. I mean, it's still powered in right now, but I'm going to leave it powered on. There's a reason I'm going to do that in a minute. So I'm just slowly tilt it because there's hard drives in here. You can see the entire frame is made of this, like, aluminum metal, I assume it is. Now, the issue that I have with the ZimaBoard is I have it running 24/7. I have it running Cloudflare, TwinGate, all sorts of VPNs, it has loads on it. Now, my problem is I have a thermometer here. I'm going to turn it on. Right, I'm going to scan right in dead center. That's 47.7 degrees here. Like, it's too hot to pick up once it's been on. We'll scan here, that's 42. Where it's also really hot is when I go to grab it, to move it. I grab at the sides here, so right here. That's 46.8. That'll burn your hands to hold. It's bloody hot. Like, all of it. Like, this side bit here, if I scan that as well, that's 45.2. My hard drives are 51.6. Yeah, so same for both. We're all about 50. The fan's running at 36 though, so well done, fan, well done. So that's my biggest gripe with it, with the physical package of it, is it's too hot. And I feel like I feel like I've actually burnt myself picking it up before when I didn't let it cool down sufficiently. Because I was like, oh, I'll just move it across my desk. Picked it up and it bloody hurt. So I don't think this little spinny fan here actually does too much. But yeah, it's interesting to see. Right, it is really, really hot. So that is kind of all the negatives of the chassis. Now, there's a few things I actually do really like. Number one, PCIe slot, 10 out of 10. Sometimes I throw a GPU in here because I do some AI stuff. I have to be really careful here because it is hot. Another one is the ports. Now, it does have this mini display port. I wish it came with like USB-C or HDMI, but that's maybe a wish for the Zima 3. I've only ever used one of the Ethernet ports, and the USB ports are, USB ports. We're going to come on to this later because I've actually had an issue with the USB device manager inside of a Zima board. And I wish the power was USB-C as well, but that's just little things. Coming round to the back, there you go, I can actually rotate it like this time. I don't mind this. I wish the cable management was slightly tidier on the back, maybe just slightly shorter cables that hop across. But in terms of actual cable footprint, it's almost nothing. Like, this cable's gorgeously wrapped around. And underneath I wish there was maybe like a small metal plate here, or maybe some rubber, maybe a little heat sink to get rid of a bit of the heat. But apart from that, I mean, the outside is solid. It's just the temperature that gets it, because that hurt to move. But brilliant device. Now we're going to move on to the web UI and where the actual issues with home servering are. Okay, logging on to ZimaBoard down here. So it looks pretty much the same, the UI. You can see, the times up here, CPU and RAM usage. So you can actually see Open Web UI is taking up most. I did have some issues with the RAM, but it was my fault. I was running AI application development and it was not happy. I've only used 570 gig of my storage, and we'll run through what I've been using it for lately. But the App Store has developed quite nicely, in my opinion. So inside of here, the new store looks really nice, and you can even add community stores like I have down below. This is where I get most of my apps from, to be honest, and they're even recommending a lot of AI workspace apps, which is fair enough. But the biggest drawback that I found with the ZimaBoard is actually inside of MakeMKV. Coming back to what I said about the USB ports at the start, so I have an issue that I have 2 USB drives, and I plug both in, or one at a time. And I have this constant issue where after a disk finishes ripping and then the drive ejects, the ZimaBoard seems to change the unique identifier of the USB device, so it loses it. Even though I give MakeMKV full privilege from Docker, it can see the entire host OS devices, it still fails to then re-find the drive after. It's hard to automate anything inside of this. which is like quite a big issue. So I have to get my other mini PC out for MakeMKV ripping, just because it's a bit more reliable with the USB devices. But in terms of actual app management, it's really easy, and I really like their new editing UI. This is very recent. I don't know if this is a part of a beta that I'm on because I signed up for developer betas. But it's just so easy to deploy any type of Docker container. Like, you don't even have to look in advanced if you don't want to. You can just deal with this bit, or you can just look at raw YAML. But like, it just works. But moving on to the main thing I've used it for, them 2 beefy hard drives in giving me 18 terabytes, is the storage. So this is my NAS. So I use it all the time. I sync files across from it. This is actually where every YouTube video is stored, all of my 3D printing files, all of my ripped media. It's currently on here under ZimaSpace. So inside of here, you'll see our 3D printing files. Now there should actually be quite a lot in here if I get some info. Can I see size? There you go, so it's 13 gig in there. And it works really well just downloading it on any other device, loading the files. And then I even save so Bamboo Lab have something called free MF files for 3D print projects. I save them back to the home server so I can't lose them. It's brilliant. I have a backup here. So this was from my actual PC. Now I will blur this because inside of backup, I have synced every photo here that I have in my library. And you can do that from the Zima client. It's so good. But you know, it works as iCloud, like on the app. I've just switched over to the camera. Now I am working on getting a camera upgrade, don't worry. But down here at the bottom, I'll blur this again, but I can automatically sync all of my photos straight to the zimaboard from the app, from anywhere. We'll come back to why I can sync it from anywhere soon. Then you got your Docker stuff, media here. So this is where I've been ripping a lot of my information. So here's Guardians of the Galaxy 3 that I need to move on, which I have the disc for. This is not pirated. This is my own media, and WALL-E, arguably the best film ever made. You know, the in-browser players are just brilliant. Like, that was rapid. I get the board is next to me, but I am still technically on Wi-Fi. Now, inside of YouTube, now this is where every video I make currently is. So here's open code. So these are the files that get synced across, which I then edit, and it all pumps back in. So this was last week's video. So to edit, you can see all the raw files. So for example here, I then upload it straight from the zimaboard to YouTube, because then it's my, my NAS doing it for me. I don't have to leave my Mac open, because it just works. Unreal projects, so I have something installed on Zima called, down here, Perforce server. So this one actually open up because it doesn't have like a web UI. But I sync all of my Unreal Engine projects straight into here. There's currently only one, which there's supposed to be a lot more, so I've made an error there somewhere. But we'll figure it out. And then inside of here, this is where I point Claude Code. So everything happens on Claude Code over SSH to the zimaboard. So that way nothing I can lose locally because it's on the zimaboard. And then I throw it straight on here. So like 3D print business, it's not really a business actually. It's just like, I call it Print Studio. So I track all my filaments, the exact amount that each plate takes me to print. I can work out then cost. And we've got Mega Ripper. Now this works, by the way. I remade a video on this, like, I think back in like March. So with Mega Ripper, you can rip multiple discs at the same time. And, it just works. It started as a Mac project, made it into Docker, and it just works. Like, pointing Claude Code to your NAS is just like a superpower that nobody is exposing here. Now, you can see that I share ZimaSpace, which is this one. So if I come into Manage Sharing, you can see I can just add it on Windows or Mac. Or on the same Zima client app, you can access your full file storage from anywhere with Zima Connect, which is the built-in VPN. But ZimaOS comes with drawbacks. So this is CasaOS, essentially, but bundled as an operating system to give you a slightly more reliable experience. The thing I don't like about ZimaOS is it's an immutable OS, similar to Bazzite. And what that means is you can't modify everything. So for example, I wanted to download Claude Code on here. I couldn't because it's not allowed. Because it has to do something to modify the root directory or something. It's the old install way with npm and node where it has to modify system packages and it can't. So I had to install it inside of my /data folder and then create, I think they call it like a symlink, or it's essentially a shortcut. So when I type the phrase Claude, it then triggers the Claude Code inside of a permanent npm folder located elsewhere than my user folder. Totally possible to do, but just a weird workaround I'm not totally happy on. And I'm also loving their updates as well. Like they are doing good shit at the moment. So I did join the beta, and of course you'd have the web-based terminal as well, which I do work here sometimes. Like if I come in here and log in, you'll see ZimaOS here. Now this is, for example, where I type in Claude. There you go, and you'll see it's not found, data opt, it's not found here, a backup exists here, you can manually restore this. It's not supposed to live in /data/opt, it's supposed to live somewhere else, but I had to point it somewhere special. But coming back just to ZimaOS, I don't want this video to drag on too long. Do I recommend buying a zimaboard? My answer to that is yes. This is currently my favourite home server hardware. One, it looks gorgeous, it does run a bit hot, but you're not touching your home server every day, so is it a real issue? It's kind of up to you. This is my old home server. This is just a standard N95 mini PC. I mean, it's really tiny. It's got 3 USB ports, 2 LANs, 3 HDMIs, which you can only really use 2 at a time. And it just worked. It had Ubuntu on it. And, this is a slightly bigger form factor, but you have to remember, this has 2 hard drives in it. Oh, that's toasty. And storage inside. This only has storage inside. I then had this connected to a DAS, which probably wouldn't fit in frame right now, which is a direct attached storage. So this would function as a NAS, because that was the cheapest way around it. So, I love this. I would buy one with my own money if I didn't already have one, but I wouldn't install ZimaOS yet. I love it. I think it just needs a little bit more craftsmanship, or maybe like an unlocked version for people who really want to tinker with the OS like me. If you just want an easy to run server OS, ZimaOS works for you. You don't need to install a VPN, Zima Connect is there. But for me, I like to break things, I like to experiment, so I think I'm going to end up going to Ubuntu server and installing Casa OS that way. But I just kind of wanted to come on and give an update how I'm finding the Zima board. I honestly truly love it, but thank you all for watching this video. If you do want to pick up a Zima board, I'll leave a non-commission link down below just to the Zima site. Feel free to go check it out if you want to. I personally love it. But I will see you in the next video. We've got some nice videos lined up, and I will speak to you later. Goodbye.